Many turning points in history still affect us today, but one turning point that still leaves a lot to be discovered is the launch of the Internet. But to understand the impact it has on today, one has to go back only a few decades. You may remember a time where businessmen met in person instead of through video calls, or when they walked down the hall to relay a message instead of sending an email. During the Cold War, the US, afraid of a Soviet attack, or even worse, a nuclear war, decided to have a system of packet switching networks. One of the key innovations that helped grow the Internet during the 1970s is still considered to be one of the most important tools today. Email, created by Ray Tomlinson in 1971. Although this invention of a digital communication system that we now know as email was in its infancy, the innovations of this application were another turning point in history. Communication would never be the same. By 1981, over 1,000 computers were connected through the ARPANET. The Department of Defense realized that this could be a liability and an easy way to attack this new communication system, resulting in a system failure. So the ARPANET was split into two, one used for military purposes that became known as MILNET, and the other network was part of the National Science Foundation known as the NSF-NET. This was a huge improvement because the NSF-NET grew and grew. The problem? There just had to be one. The Internet was mostly used by scientists, researchers, and those tech-savvy individuals that some people call computer geeks. They actually knew how to use these supercomputers and could visualize the possibilities. The Internet finally took off in 1991 after a new platform was developed. A British man named Tim Berners-Lee developed the HTML markup language and the HTTP protocol, thus creating the World Wide Web. With this, the Internet expanded. In order for the average user to take advantage of the World Wide Web, browsers were necessary to view text and media. The first web browser developed was named Mosaic and was released in 1993. As more browsers started to appear, the competition grew. This led to the browser wars, an epic fight between Microsoft and Netscape to see who comes out on top.
By 1996, the internet was exploding. With billions of dollars at stake, Microsoft and Netscape were locked in a titanic power struggle over who would become the dominant force in the brave new world of the web. This titanic conflict, known as the browser war, would have profound consequences for the future of the technology industry and for how all of us use the internet. And now it was entering its final, its most dramatic, and for Netscape, its most devastating phase.
The browser wars still continue today. Microsoft had an enormous financial advantage over Netscape and was able to distribute Internet Explorer for free to Windows users, installing them on brand new computers, forcing non-suspecting users to use Internet Explorer. Ultimately, Netscape could not compete and is now non-existent. The Internet also affected the way we conduct research by becoming the world's largest encyclopedia, dictionary, and book.
Tom Wolfe famously christened the 1980s the Me Decade. But by 1999, it was clear that the 90s had become the E Decade. Virtually every day, it seemed, at least one new e-commerce venture was brought into the world. The kids running these new companies were all fervent disciples of the Get Big Fast creed being preached by Amazon and eBay. But when embraced by lesser minds, these theories led to an ungodly amount of sheer stupidity and to a bunch of Me Too knockoff companies with incredibly silly names. There was Pets.com, there was PetSmart, there was Petstopia, there were iPrint and iBeam, iMany, iGo, and iVillage. Then there were the E's, ePrees, eGreetings, eMerge, eFunds, eLoan, eCollege, and of course Epiphany. There was FireDog and FirePond, Razorfish and Loudeye.
Here are some examples of what is happening over the internet in the next 60 seconds. Over 600 new YouTube videos are being uploaded. More than 300 new Twitter accounts are being created, and 98,000 tweets are being sent. Pandora is streaming over 13,000 hours of music. Over 168 million emails are being sent in this 1 minute. Over 13,000 iPhone applications are being downloaded. More than 600,000 Facebook status updates are being made, and over 500,000 Facebook comments are being posted. So who knows? The next turning point in history may be in the next 60 seconds. The internet was a turning point in our history that may not have been projected. Still, we watch as it continues to amaze us with its ongoing developments and surprises.